The Coalition Council's war chamber pulsed with tension. Under the pale glow of 3 distant suns, alien species leaders debated in a room filled with tactical holograms. General Torin, imposing with his hardened, scaly skin, struck the table with a massive fist. "They are ghosts," he roared, his voice like distant thunder. "Deadly invisible. Every shot is a sentence." Beside him, Commander Vlek adjusted his tentacles nervously, his slit eyes glowing. "It's not just the distance," he hissed. "They kill without warning, without a chance to react." The air in the room was heavy, loaded with a feeling of helplessness. It was clear they weren't facing a conventional war. The words of a floating artificial intelligence cut through the air. "You are not fighting soldiers," the precise metallic voice declared. "They are predators." A wave of unease rippled through the room. The Coalition, a union of species proud of their collective strength, was now reduced to prey. "They have adapted war to absolute precision," the AI continued. "For humans, winning isn't about fighting. It's about eliminating." The room fell silent, each alien commander absorbing the weight of the statement. It was a terrifying vision. A species that viewed battle as a cold calculation, not a confrontation. Meanwhile, across the desolate plains of Crux, for a human remained perfectly still. The rocky terrain concealed his body, camouflaged as part of the environment. Through the scope of his precision rifle, he observed a group of aliens struggling to reinforce their positions. Every erratic movement exposed an obvious truth. They knew he was there, but had no idea where. The sniper's finger rested lightly on the trigger, with no pressure to fire. Patiently, he waited for the perfect moment. Hours, days, it didn't matter. Time was a weapon as sharp as his rifle. The aliens below moved in desperation, their disconnected words echoing through the communication channel. "Where is he? He's watching us." The human sniper knew exactly what was happening. Fear was a corrosive force, the prelude to collapse. He didn't need to hear the screams to know the aliens were panicking. It was always the same cycle. First hesitation, then paranoia, and finally defeat. A single shot would be enough to trigger absolute chaos. Back at the council, the tension boiled over. "How do we fight something we can't see?" General Torin demanded, his voice brimming with frustration. "Trap lines," shouted another leader, his eyes gleaming with a frantic glow. "Force them to reveal themselves." But the AI intervened again. "You cannot win with brute force. You must become unpredictable, transform your weaknesses into strengths." The room fell silent, but doubt hung like a suffocating mist. The Coalition was beginning to realize that even with all their strategies and strength, they were on the defensive. A gunshot shattered the battlefield silence. An alien fell, his massive figure collapsing like an uprooted tree. The group descended into frenzy. The sniper adjusted his position, watching the chaos unfold. Another one down, he muttered to himself, his eyes fixed on the next target, studying the erratic movements of an alien commander fleeing the scene. "They never learn," he thought, his tone calm, almost detached. He was merely a spectator in the collapse of an entire force. Movement in the distance caught his attention. Through the scope, he saw figures moving with uncommon precision. They were hidden among the rocks, advancing like a united shadow. The sniper knew what this meant. "Finally, they decided to hunt me." It was a maneuver he had anticipated for days. The Coalition had sent their elite, hunters as determined as he was, but he wasn't afraid. "This will be interesting," he murmured. The hunters moved with precise formations, defying the common patterns of regular soldiers. "This is no joke," the sniper thought as he adjusted his position. Every movement was calculated, every angle reviewed. He knew he was facing something different, but also knew he had the advantage. He was watching them while they were still searching for him. "Let's see who the real predator is," he whispered to the wind. Meanwhile, at the council, debates turned desperate. "They are annihilating us," Commander Vlek declared, his voice nearly a lament. "We need to strike directly." But General Torin shook his head. "We've tried that. They're always one step ahead." The AI simply observed. as if it knew something the others didn't understand. Change will not come from your strength, it finally said. It will come from your ability to think like them. Back on the battlefield, the sniper adjusted his aim, his heartbeat calm and steady. He studied the hunters as they advanced, each step a movement toward an inevitable confrontation. The moment to attack was near, but he knew a single mistake could mean his death. They think they're hunters, he thought, but they haven't realized the game is already over. The elite coalition hunters moved with the precision of machines. Each had a defined role, covering blind spots and forming a semicircle around the sniper's estimated position. Equipped with heat detectors and motion sensors, they advanced like patient predators, ready to corner their prey. Yet something about them betrayed hidden tension. No matter how well-trained they were, they knew the sniper wasn't an ordinary adversary. Every step was accompanied by furtive glances and nervous fingers on triggers. The sniper watched their every move, calmly adjusting his position. He noticed the caution in their steps, the hesitation in their advances. They're afraid, he thought, almost smiling. He knew he needed to use that to his advantage. Slowly, without haste, he began to slide into a new position, each movement so precise it seemed more part of the environment than a human. With his rifle supported on a rock, he aligned his sights on one of the more distant hunters. Their mistake is thinking they have control, he murmured to himself. As the hunters approached, the sniper noticed a pattern in their formation. The central soldier led, while the others adjusted to his rhythm. This created brief gaps in their flanks. He didn't hesitate. A shot echoed through the canyon, and the rear soldier fell before realizing what hit him. The formation instantly crumbled. The remaining hunters scattered, seeking cover and trying to locate the shot's origin. But he was already on the move again. The secret is keeping them off balance, the sniper thought as he observed the hunters react to the first attack. He knew chaos was his best weapon. Moving quickly but silently, he repositioned to a higher vantage point. From there, he watched the hunters attempt to regroup. Another shot rang out, but missed intentionally, a shot meant to disorient them further. The hunters began firing at where they thought the sniper was, wasting ammunition and revealing their positions. At the council, the leaders receive an update on the ongoing mission. They've found the human, Commander Vlek announced, but the tone of relief was short-lived. 2 hunters have already been eliminated, the AI reported, its voice cold and factual. The tension in the room grew, and murmurs of concern filled the space. How can a single human do this? General Torin asked, clearly exasperated. The AI responded simply, they are not mere soldiers. They are masters of deception. Back on the battlefield, the sniper adjusted his sights. Time to end this, he thought, steadying his rifle for the next shot. The 2 remaining hunters continued advancing, but the tension in their movements was evident. They had lost their comrades in mere minutes and knew the sniper now held the upper hand. Communicating only through gestures, they devised a plan to surround him, using the uneven terrain for cover. One activated a small drone, a metallic sphere equipped with heat and motion sensors. It was their last attempt to locate him before he could strike again. However, the sniper observed every step his adversaries took, calmly analyzing their strategy without the slightest trace of unease. The drone ascended into the sky, scanning the area for signs of the human. To the sniper, it presented an intriguing challenge. He knew the device could compromise his position if he remained exposed too long. Yet maintaining his current position was crucial to keeping the element of surprise. With controlled movements, he adjusted his camouflage cover and temporarily disabled his body transmitter to minimize his heat signature. You want to find me? He thought. Come and get me. He prepared to act at the right moment, already calculating how to turn the situation in his favor. On the Coalition's Mothership Command bridge, Commander Vlek anxiously monitored the drone's live feed. He's here somewhere, he growled, pointing at the screen where an indistinct heat signature appeared among the rocks. The AI maintained its analytical tone. His ability to remain hidden is remarkable. However, even the best predator makes mistakes under pressure, Vlek ignored the insinuation and ordered the hunters to tighten their search pattern. Deep down, though, he knew they were at the mercy of an enemy who understood warfare on an entirely different level. From his elevated position, the sniper detected the drone and recognized its tactical importance. He knew destroying it outright would immediately reveal his location. Instead, he waited for the device to pass by and fired at the hunter controlling it. The shot was precise, hitting the side of the alien's helmet and taking him down. Before the second hunter could react, the sniper moved to a new position, diving deeper into the rugged terrain. The drone fell inactive, and the lone remaining hunter panicked. The solo hunter's movements grew desperate. He darted from cover to cover, firing sporadically at empty areas. The sniper watched with a mix of curiosity and disdain. So, this is how it ends, he thought. He had seen this behavior countless times, soldiers convinced of their superiority falling into utter terror upon realizing they were being hunted. Still, the sniper maintained his discipline. He knew panic could be a trap, and he wasn't about to make a mistake. As the hunter sought shelter, he stumbled upon a signaling device left by one of his fallen comrades. With a swift motion, he activated it, sending a pulse of light into the sky. The message was clear: reinforcements needed. The sniper noticed the gesture and frowned. He knew he didn't have much time before the area was flooded with additional troops. Time to end this, he muttered, adjusting his aim toward the final target. The final shot was merciless. The hunter fell without a sound, his body stiff as a statue. The sniper lowered his weapon and quickly scanned the area to ensure no immediate threats remained. Yet, he knew he couldn't stay. The signal for reinforcements would be answered within minutes, and the next wave wouldn't repeat the same mistakes. He gathered as much intelligence as he could from the enemy's movements before retreating to a safer location. On the mothership, the hunters' defeat was met with disbelief. "They were our best," Vlek whispered, clenching his hands tightly. The AI, however, maintained its pragmatic tone. This proves that the human method is not only superior in execution, but also in adaptation. Every move they make is a direct response to our soldiers' behavior. They don't just hunt, they study. General Torin interjected. "So that's it? We keep sending troops to be slaughtered." His voice was a mix of frustration and helplessness. "We need something else, something they won't expect." Meanwhile, the sniper found refuge in a hidden cave. He temporarily disabled his systems to avoid detection and began reviewing the data captured from his recent targets. Every move, every decision was recorded and analyzed. "They're learning," he thought, "but so am I." Despite his lethal efficiency, he knew the coalition wouldn't give up easily. He adjusted his equipment, checked his ammunition, and took a deep breath. The game was far from over. As the sniper adjusted his position within the cave, a soft alert pinged on his communicator. The sound was barely perceptible, but carried a clear message. The coalition reinforcements had arrived in the area. He didn't know how many or what type of adversary was on their way, but it didn't change his approach. The challenge was always the same. Remain invisible, strike only when necessary, and turn every encounter into a lesson in tactical supremacy. Outside, coalition reinforcements landed in disciplined formation. An elite force composed of soldiers from various species was accompanied by autonomous machines designed specifically to hunt humans. Each soldier was equipped with high-precision sensors and armor engineered to resist sniper rounds. Commander Vlek, supervising the operation remotely, smiled with satisfaction as he observed his strike force. "This time he won't have anywhere to run," he growled, his eyes gleaming with a mix of hope and vengeance. The troops split into two columns, advancing cautiously through the terrain. Every step was meticulously calculated, avoiding open areas where the sniper could gain an advantage. What they didn't realize, however, was that the terrain was far from familiar to them. The sniper, with weeks of prior reconnaissance, knew every slope, every rock, every cave. He had already prepared the battlefield for an inevitable confrontation. Small traps were strategically placed, ready to delay and confuse the enemy. The first warning came when one of the autonomous machines approached a trap. As soon as its weight pressed the ground, A targeted explosion sent a cloud of dust and shrapnel into the air. The nearby soldiers instinctively retreated, creating gaps in their formation. This was the moment the sniper had been waiting for. From his new position, he fired a single shot, taking down the leader of one group. The abrupt fall of their commander left the others momentarily frozen, spreading chaos among the unit. The reaction was swift. The remaining soldiers scattered, seeking cover and pointing their weapons in all directions. But the sniper had already disappeared. He moved quickly to another vantage point where he could monitor the troops' disorganized movements. His strategy of inducing panic worked exactly as planned. The soldiers' discipline crumbled under the pressure of an invisible enemy. The effectiveness of the traps and precise shots reinforced the fearsome reputation of human snipers. Inside the mothership, tension was mounting. "He's running us in circles," Vlek admitted, watching the disarray of his soldiers through the drone cameras. The AI analyzed the situation with its trademark cold precision. This is standard behavior. He forces dispersion and eliminates the leaders to weaken cohesion. The next step will be to drive them into a larger trap. The suggestion irritated the commander. "Then suggest something useful. How do we find him before it's too late?" Meanwhile, the sniper was evaluating his next move. He knew the troop was larger and better equipped than previous forces, but that also meant they relied more on equipment than instinct. He adjusted his night vision and deployed interference devices to temporarily disable the sensors of some machines. The partial darkness sowed further confusion among the soldiers. They fired blindly, exposing themselves to carefully planned ambushes. One soldier, more experienced, noticed the pattern. He gathered what remained of his group and attempted to establish a defensive perimeter. This decision caught the sniper's attention, who observed with interest the effort to reorganize. "Finally, someone with their head on straight," he murmured. Still, it wasn't enough. The sniper knew that while they focused on fortifying one position, they were ignoring the terrain around them, exactly as he wanted. The next attack was decisive. The sniper used specialized ammunition to target a power field generator protecting the remaining unit. The resulting explosion left the troop vulnerable, allowing him to finish them off with precise shots in mere seconds. Only 2 soldiers survived, fleeing in desperation and abandoning their equipment and fallen comrades. The sniper didn't pursue them. He knew the message was clear. This territory was his. In the end, he returned to his cave to recover and analyze the data collected. Each coalition defeat was a lesson for both sides, but for the sniper, it was also a matter of pride. He was shaping the battlefield in his image, becoming not just a ghost, but a living legend among humanity's enemies. In the darkness of the coalition's outpost, a new plan was taking shape. After repeated defeats against the human snipers, the alien leaders were determined to turn the tide. Vlek, his confidence shaken, assembled his elite team, composed of the coalition's best strategists and soldiers. At the center of the tactical hologram, the battlefield map displayed the estimated locations of human snipers. "If we want to turn the game around, we need to make them play on our field," Vlek declared, his words laced with determination. "We won't wait for them to attack. We'll hunt them down." The strategy was bold. The elite hunters, known as the Reclaimers, were highly trained combat soldiers equipped with stealth technology and weapons designed to ambush and destroy mobile targets. Each Reclaimer carried sensors to track body heat, sound waves, and even brainwave frequencies. These humans are precise, but even predators make mistakes when they think they're in control, one of the strategists remarked, adjusting the data on the hologram. Vlek's team agreed. They knew they had to turn the battlefield into a living trap. Meanwhile, the sniper observed from his elevated position. The stillness of the landscape was something he didn't appreciate. There was a weight in the air, a sense that something was off. He adjusted his scope, scanning troop movements kilometers away. It was strange. The usual dispersion of enemy forces seemed too coordinated, as if there was a hidden pattern he couldn't yet decipher. He knew something was different, and it made him uneasy. "They're testing something new," he murmured, communicating with his distant spotter. The Reclaimer's initial attack was subtle. They used drones to simulate erratic movements, diverting the sniper's attention to false locations while infiltrating the terrain. But the sniper wasn't easily fooled. He noticed the disparity between the movements of regular soldiers and the precise infiltration patterns of the reclaimers. Using his radio, he alerted his spotter to monitor a specific area where the drone seemed manually controlled. "They want me to think this is a mistake," he said with a hint of amusement. "But they're underestimating me." The reclaimers, however, were just as careful. They weren't in a rush. They knew patience was essential against a human sniper. Moving slowly, they used the terrain to their advantage, advancing inch by inch without leaving traces. The tension grew with every passing moment. The sniper adjusted his position carefully, staying hidden while monitoring the intruders. Despite the reclaimer's precise movements, he knew his own skills surpassed any automated tactic. This was a battle of wits, not just strength. The inevitable confrontation came when one of the reclaimers crossed an invisible line. The perimeter the sniper had set as an alert point. Without hesitation, he fired. The impact was precise, taking down the first reclaimer before the rest of the team could react. But this was only the beginning. Instead of retreating, the other reclaimers advanced, using their fallen comrade's body as a distraction. It was an unexpected maneuver, forcing the sniper to quickly adjust his strategy. The fight turned into a game of cat and mouse. The sniper knew he couldn't stay in the same place for long. He moved with agility, repositioning before the reclaimers could triangulate him. Every move was calculated, every decision rooted in years of experience. He knew the reclaimers were formidable, but he also knew they were on his turf. And here, he always held the advantage. The reclaimers tried a new tactic: controlled explosions to disorient the sniper, creating loud noises and flashes of light to disrupt his vision and hearing. But once again, he anticipated the strategy. Using a countermeasure system he had adapted himself, he neutralized the heat sensors and sound scans the reclaimers relied on to track him. He was a shadow amidst the chaos, always one step ahead. At a critical moment, the sniper managed to completely turn the tables. He used the terrain to deceive the reclaimers, luring them into what appeared to be a blind spot, but was actually a dead end. By the time the last reclaimer realized the trap, it was too late. From an elevated position, the sniper watched them calmly. He eliminated the final two soldiers with swift, precise shots. The silence that followed was deafening. At the end of the confrontation, the sniper moved again, knowing the coalition would not give up so easily. But he also understood that with every failed attempt, his enemies were learning a bitter lesson. Hunting human snipers required more than technology and numbers. It demanded an understanding of a predator's mind, and so far, no one in the coalition was up to the challenge. The reclaimers' failure left the coalition in a state of despair. Within the war room, tension was palpable. Commander Vlek reviewed the reports with a mix of frustration and disbelief. "These human snipers are not ordinary soldiers," he murmured, more to himself than to anyone else. The room fell silent as the coalition's AI, a cold and analytical entity, intervened. "Perhaps the failure is not in the execution of your missions," the AI stated, "but in your fundamental understanding of the enemy." All attention turned to the holographic projection of the AI, which began displaying detailed data on the sniper's behavior. "They don't just fight," the AI continued. "They turn the battlefield into an extension of themselves. Every rock, every shadow is a tool." The analysis was unsettling. The AI highlighted that human snipers operated in constant cycles of adaptation, learning from every attempted ambush. They're not just surviving, they're evolving. The revelation shocked the coalition. They realized that in their attempts to hunt the humans, they had inadvertently taught them to become even deadlier. Meanwhile, on the barren terrain, the sniper prepared for another day of hunting. He had noticed subtle changes in the enemy's patterns. Less chaos, more strategy. This indicated the coalition was adapting, but so was he. His spotter, a steady and calm voice over the communicator, alerted him to suspicious movements in a nearby sector. "Something big is happening," the spotter said. The sniper nodded, adjusting his scope to get a better view. There was something different about that day, a strange silence, as if the battlefield itself was holding its breath. In the war room, Vlek proposed a bold plan. What if we fight fire with fire? He suggested. We'll train snipers to operate like them. We'll send soldiers to study their methods directly in the field. The AI immediately disagreed. Imitating the enemy is not enough. You don't understand the reason they fight. Their motivation goes beyond victory. It's survival at any cost. Vlek, though reluctant, recognized the truth in the AI's words. He knew the coalition's only chance would be to think like the humans, but that required something he wasn't ready to admit: fear. On the field, the shift in the coalition's strategy became apparent. The sniper noticed small groups of soldiers moving in coordinated patterns, more cautious than ever. They were attempting to mimic human tactics, but this only strengthened the sniper's confidence. He knew the real difference wasn't in technique, but in mindset. He and his comrades didn't fight for glory or honor. They were survivors, shaped by the brutal necessity of winning. This wasn't something that could be replicated. At a critical moment, the sniper received an unexpected transmission. It wasn't from his spotter, but from an unknown channel. "Do you think you're always in control?" The voice was cold, almost mocking. "We're closer than you think." It was a psychological trick, but the sniper remained calm. He knew the coalition was trying to unsettle him. Even so, the tone of the transmission carried a weight he couldn't ignore. Determined to understand what was happening, the sniper began analyzing the enemy's movements more carefully. He noticed an odd pattern. The soldiers were converging on a specific point, but it wasn't a fortification or an obvious target. It was something hidden. He reported his observations to command, and the response was alarming. "It could be an advanced command facility," the spotter said. "If it is, they're gathering forces for something big." In the coalition's war room, Vlek unveiled his trump card. He had assembled a group of scientists and strategists to create a device capable of tracking human snipers using a new neural frequency technology. "If we can activate it, they'll lose their advantage," he explained. But the AI warned, "This technology is unstable. If it fails, you'll give them a new weapon." Vlek, however, was willing to take the risk. He knew he had no other choice. The sniper, now aware of the plan, realized he needed to act quickly. He understood that this command facility was crucial to the coalition. If he could disable it, he could break the enemy's morale once and for all. With his spotter providing cover, he began planning the attack. "They think they're in control," he said, adjusting his scope. "But they still don't understand who's really hunting whom." In the final moments, as the sniper approached the facility, he realized he wasn't alone. Other human snipers had infiltrated the area, each operating as an extension of the other. They formed an invisible network, coordinated by instinct and training. The coalition stood no chance. When the attack began, it was swift and devastating. Every human shot was precise, dismantling the enemy's defenses with terrifying efficiency. The experimental device was destroyed before it could be activated. Vlek, watching the destruction of his command facility, felt the weight of failure. He realized it wasn't just the humans' technology that made them superior. It was the way they fought, with fierce determination and unparalleled skill. He knew this war was far from over, but in that moment, the coalition had learned a bitter lesson. Human snipers weren't just soldiers. They were living legends. The impact of the final assault echoed far beyond the battlefield. The coalition's command facility, considered its last hope to counter the human snipers, lay in ruins. For the coalition, it wasn't just a strategic loss, it was a psychological blow. In the war room, Vlek stared at the holograms of the wreckage, his expression marked by defeat. "We underestimated more than their weapons," he murmured to the AI. "We underestimated their will." The AI, ever analytical, processed the data in silence before responding. "Humans don't fight with strategy alone," it said. "They fight with purpose. Every action they take reflects their determination to survive." Vlek realized that while the coalition tried to replicate their tactics, the humans remained a step ahead, constantly innovating. The war was no longer just a territorial dispute. It had become a clash of ideas, a battle of mentalities. On the battlefield, the sniper and his spotter moved carefully through the shadows, avoiding the coalition's last disoriented squads. "They're falling apart," the spotter remarked. The sniper remained silent, observing through his scope. He knew even a defeated enemy could be dangerous. "We can't underestimate them now," he finally replied. "It's when they're most desperate that they're the most reckless." Meanwhile, the coalition convened an emergency council. The debates were heated. Some leaders argued for abandoning the war, while others insisted on continuing the fight despite mounting losses. "We can't surrender," roared a Tauran general. It would be an invitation for them to destroy us completely. Yet deep down, the truth was clear. The fear of the snipers had sown deep doubts within the coalition's ranks. At the snipers' hideout, the humans gathered in a rare moment of calm. The lead sniper, still anonymous to most, studied the tactical maps while listening to reports from other teams. "They're retreating," one officer reported. The sniper nodded slightly but remained focused on something else. He knew this was just one chapter of the war. "What comes next?" the spotter asked. "We keep going," the sniper replied. "They won't forget, and neither will we." Back in the war room, Vlek faced his own crisis of conscience. He knew the coalition needed a new approach, something that could rival human creativity. But every idea seemed inadequate. "How do we defeat something we don't understand?" he asked the AI. The response was cold but direct. "You don't defeat them. You survive, and maybe one day you learn to coexist." The destruction of the facility marked the end of the coalition's military campaign. Troops began deserting, leaders withdrew to safer systems, and distant allies hesitated to send reinforcements. For the snipers, this wasn't a complete victory but a pause. They knew the true battle was staying prepared for whatever came next. The war had shaped them into more than soldiers. They were predators now, and the galaxy knew it. The sniper reflected on the impact of his actions as he dismantled his position. He wasn't a hero, nor did he want to be seen as one. But there was a purpose to his existence. Every shot, every movement was a message. Humanity would not be tamed. They would fight in the shadows, like ghosts refusing to fade. He looked at the desolate horizon one last time before blending into the landscape. "We keep going," he murmured to himself. On Earth, news of the victory spread quickly. But for human command, there was no celebration. The leadership knew the war was just one piece of something larger. The snipers had proven their worth, but the cost was immeasurable. In a strategic meeting, the generals discussed the next steps. "We need to ensure we're never hunted like this again," one said. "We need to maintain our edge." In the coalition's historical records, human snipers were immortalized as legends. They were called the Invisible Hunters, a force that defied all known conventions of war. Even those who had never faced the snipers feared their stories. To the galaxy, humans had become more than a species. They were a warning: never underestimate survivors. As the sniper walked away from the battlefield, one final thought echoed in his mind. The war had shown the worst of the galaxy, but also revealed something deeper about humanity. They weren't the strongest nor the most numerous, but they were the ones who always found a way. And as long as enemies existed, he would be there, a shadow in the night, an indomitable force. Who do you think is the real predator in this war, the humans or the coalition?